What if I told you that a man legally stole 800,000 from airlines? Not with a gun, not with a lawyer, with chocolate pudding cups, 25 cents each, and the airlines couldn't do anything about it because he broke zero laws. Zero. This is the story of David Phillips, the man the entire airline industry calls the pudding guy, and why what he found tells you everything about how airlines have been playing you for decades. David Phillips was not a criminal mastermind. He was a civil engineer at UC Davis, California. A normal man with a wife, 2 daughters, and a dream of taking his family to Europe. The problem was simple. Flights to Europe cost money. A lot of money. So like millions of Americans, Phillips had been slowly collecting frequent flyer miles for 5 years. 5 years of flying. 5 years of credit card spending. And he still didn't have enough miles for 4 tickets to Europe. In May 1999, Phillips was pushing a shopping cart through a discount grocery store in Sacramento. He wasn't looking for a scheme. He was just buying food. And then he saw it. A promotion on a box of Healthy Choice frozen meals. Mail in 10 barcodes. Get 500 frequent flyer miles. Mail them before June 1st. Get 1,000 miles instead. Phillips stopped his cart. He pulled out a piece of paper. He started doing math. At $2 per frozen meal, that's 1,000 miles for $20. Decent, not amazing. But then he walked further down the aisle and found individual chocolate pudding cups. 25 cents each, with their own individual barcode. Phillips did the math again. 1,000 miles for every 10 barcodes. 10 pudding cups at 25 cents each equals $2.50. That's 1,000 miles for $2.50. Each mile was worth approximately 2 cents in airline value, so $2.50 bought him $20 worth of flights, an 800% return. Phillips looked at the shelf, then he looked at his cart, then he looked at the shelf again, and he made a decision that would make him famous for the rest of his life. He bought every pudding cup in the store. Okay, so here's where it gets insane. He didn't stop at one store. He drove to every discount grocery store in the Sacramento area, every single one. And when he ran out of stores, he called the grocery outlet manager and asked them to order more cases. By the time he was done, he had purchased 12,150 individual chocolate pudding cups. 12,150 pudding cups at 25 cents each. Total cost, $3,140. But here's the part where it gets even better. Phillips now had a new problem. 12,150 pudding cups, each with an individual barcode. Each barcode needed to be cut off and mailed separately. The deadline was June 1st. Phillips and his wife started cutting. They cut barcodes for hours, then days. It became clear very quickly that 2 people could not physically cut 12,000 barcodes before the deadline. So Phillips had a second genius idea. He drove to the Salvation Army. He donated all 12,150 cups of pudding to the food bank. In exchange, the Salvation Army staff helped cut off every single barcode. Phillips got the barcodes, the food bank got the pudding, and Phillips got a tax deduction of $815 for the charitable donation. So the total net cost of his scheme, after the tax write-off, $2,325 for 1,253,000 frequent flyer miles. He split the miles between 4 airlines. The majority went to American Airlines, instantly giving him lifetime gold status. Value of the miles at the time, over $800,000 in free travel, $2,325 in, $800,000 out. All completely legal, not a single law broken, not even a rule bent. He simply read the fine print, better than the corporation that wrote it. Healthy Choice canceled the promotion the next day. To understand why Phillips could do this, you need to understand how airline miles actually work. And the answer is, they're not really miles. Frequent flyer miles are a currency. A privately issued currency worth over $30 billion globally. Airlines don't give you miles because they want to reward your loyalty. They sell miles to credit card companies, hotels, car rental agencies, and supermarkets, who then give them to you as promotions. American Airlines makes more money selling miles to Citibank than it does flying planes. Let that sink in. The airline's most profitable product is not a seat on a plane. It's a digital point that costs them almost nothing to create. Healthy Choice paid real money to buy miles from airlines, then gave those miles to customers as a promotion to sell more frozen food. Phillips found the gap between what Healthy Choice paid for those miles. And what an individual pudding cup cost. 25 cents of pudding, $2 of airline value, multiplied by 12,000. Most promotions don't have that gap. But when they do, and someone smart enough does the math, the results look exactly like David Phillips. The airline industry called people like Phillips mileage runners. They flew routes specifically to earn miles, sometimes losing money on the ticket, to gain more in miles. They called promotions like this mattress runs, staying in hotels specifically to hit loyalty program thresholds. An entire underground economy built around finding gaps in a system that airlines designed to look generous, but actually wasn't. So what happened to the pudding guy? Did he get in trouble? Did airlines ban him? Did Healthy Choice sue him? No, because he broke zero laws. Instead, he became famous. His story was covered by every major newspaper in America. NPR interviewed him, Time magazine wrote about him, and then Hollywood came calling. The 2002 Adam Sandler film, Punch Drunk Love. The plot is literally based on David Phillips. Adam Sandler's character buys pudding cups to collect frequent flyer miles. Life became art. But here's what nobody talks about. What happened after the pudding? Phillips didn't stop with 1 million miles. He became one of the most sophisticated travel hackers in America. For the next 2 decades, he continued to find and exploit promotions, legally, always legally, earning millions more miles. He flew his entire family to Europe, then Asia, then everywhere in first class, for free. The total value of travel he extracted from the airline system over 25 years of hacking, estimated at several $1 million, all from an initial investment of $3,140 in chocolate pudding. And here's the thing that the airline industry never wants to admit: he wasn't the only one. Thousands of people followed his story and built entire communities around finding the same kinds of gaps. Forums, blogs, newsletters dedicated entirely to legally extracting maximum value from airline loyalty programs. Flyer Talk, the most famous forum, has over 700,000 members. Some of them have extracted tens of millions of dollars in free travel without breaking a single rule. The airlines know about these communities, they monitor them, and when a gap gets too widely exploited, they close it. But Phillips found the original, the gap that started it all, with chocolate pudding at 25 cents a cup. Here's what I actually think about this story. David Phillips didn't steal anything. The airlines and Healthy Choice created a system. He understood it better than they did, and he used it exactly as designed. The fact that they called it a loophole says everything about their mentality. It wasn't a loophole, it was their own promotion, with their own rules that they didn't think through. And when someone outsmarted them, they canceled the promotion and quietly fixed the gap. But here's the bigger question. Airlines charge you baggage fees, change fees, seat selection fees. They oversell flights and bump passengers. They devalue your miles without warning. They change the rules of their own programs retroactively. And when one guy figures out how to play their system, it becomes a legendary story told for 25 years. Maybe the real story isn't about pudding. Maybe it's about the fact that we live in a world where corporations can change the rules whenever they want, but when you find a gap in their rules, they act like you're the criminal. David Phillips found the gap, he walked through it, and he flew business class to Europe for the rest of his life. Good for him. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Could you have done what he did? David Phillips spent $3,140 on pudding in 1999. He earned 1,253,000 frequent flyer miles, lifetime gold status on American Airlines, a tax deduction of $815, coverage in every major newspaper in America, a subplot in an Adam Sandler film, and an estimated $800,000 in free travel. For his family, he broke no laws, he bent no rules. He simply read the fine print, better than the people who wrote it. Healthy Choice canceled the promotion, the airlines tightened their programs, and somewhere in Sacramento, David Phillips is probably already looking for the next gap. The file on this case is permanently open.